Overwhelmed by Disney Genie? Then you've come to the right place. We're going to walk you through everything today here on DFB Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. The My Disney Experience app launched its Disney Genie extension last October. I know, seems like it's been here forever, right? And now that we've had this planning service around for almost a year, it's time to fill you in on what it can do for you, how it's changed, and how you can get the most out of its offerings. So all those times in past videos I told you to do your research, here it is. Here's the research. We've got it all collected for you, so you don't have to worry for one more second. But before we can really get into the details of how this service can be well worth your time or a waste of money in some cases, let's break down what Disney Genie really is, because if you're just now hearing about this service or you haven't really worked with it a whole lot yet, you might be sitting there going, what is this? Bonus, we've also got an entire Disney Genie Plus cheat sheet we want to give you too, for free. Just drop your email at disneyfoodblog.com/DisneyGeniePlus and we'll send you a PDF of all the info we go over today. And trust me, it's gonna be a lot. We're going to start with an easy 3-part breakdown of Disney Genie for you. I mentioned this briefly already, but just as a memory jogger, Genie is part of the My Disney Experience app. So if you've already downloaded that app before your trip, you already have access to Genie. Now to access Disney Genie, you'll just tap on the 3 horizontal lines at the bottom of your app. This is going to lead you to a list of services, one of them being the My Disney Genie Day, and this is where your Disney Genie journey will begin. But as the title of the section suggests, there are 3 key parts of the service that you need to know about first: Disney Genie Plus, and individual Lightning Lane selections. So Disney Genie is the most basic of the options. It's absolutely free for you to use. Think of it like a virtual travel planner, giving you suggestions for how you should fill your day based on preferences you tell it ahead of time. But remember, it is AI, which means sometimes it'll tell you to go watch the Dapper Dans when you have no interest in watching the Dapper Dance, so you gotta still be involved in your own destiny here. But even if you'd prefer to make an itinerary yourself, Disney Genie can still give you suggestions in real time about the forecasted ride wait times and dining tips and more, but we'll get into the specifics later. This is the easy part, remember? Okay, Disney Genie Plus is the premium side of this planning tool. For $15 per day per person, or $20 if you're on the left coast, you'll have access to most of the park's lightning lanes. There's another term to learn, lightning lanes. They're just another queue line for rides and attractions, but these lines are shorter than the main ones, which is why they can be super useful for time management, especially if you're trying to hit a lot of rides in one day. They're basically the new version of the Fast Pass line. Again, we'll get more into this service soon, but these are just the intro basics. Now there's one more premium service in the bunch here, and that's the individual Lightning Lane selections or entrances. Remember how I said Disney Genie Plus gives you access to most Lightning Lanes? Well, that's because there are certain rides, the most popular ones and the newest ones, that won't be part of that bulk Lightning Lane lineup. Instead, you'll have to pay for Lightning Lanes for these e-ticket rides a la carte. A la carte rides don't have a set price, but they usually have some sort of average range that's set around $7 to $17 per person per ride through. Yeah, there's surge pricing on these rides. You can only pay for up to 2 individual entrances per day, by the way. So quick recap, you've got free Disney Genie, $15 Disney Genie Plus, and $7 to $17 individual Lightning Lane entrances. But let's see what those 2 premium services are going to give you. Let's focus on the included Lightning Lanes first. It's one thing for me to tell you that Disney Genie Plus will give you Lightning Lane access to most rides, but it's better if we show you. Here are the full lists of rides that you'll be able to book Lightning Lanes for when you purchase Disney Genie Plus. Notice how these lists don't just include rides. There are also shows and character meet and greets with Lightning Lane options, even parades sometimes. So even if your group isn't too big on the thrills and wants to focus more on the interactions, Genie Plus could still be beneficial. Now here's a major downside to Genie Plus. Because it's a popular service, Lightning Lanes have the potential to book up. Stick with me and I'll tell you how to avoid this major stress factor later on, because there are definitely ways you can get your money's worth if you use our tips to pace out your day. But for now, these are the top 3 rides in each park that tend to get booked up first. If you want Lightning Lanes for any of these listed rides during your trip, prioritize those first, because another thing you're going to learn more about during this video is how you'll only be able to book one Lightning lightning lane at a time. Again, details and tips are coming soon. And don't forget to sign up for our newsletter to get that cheat sheet, because it's going to come in super handy. Now, let's take a look next at those fancy pants a la carte rides. When Disney Genie first launched, each park had 2 rides featured on the a la carte lightning lane menu. But after this summer, each park now only has 1. Magic Kingdom has Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Epcot has Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, Disney's Hollywood Studios has Star Wars Rise of the Resistance listed, and Disney's Animal Kingdom has Flight of Passage. The important thing to keep in mind here is that lightning lane tiers and included rides do change, so these lists will vary from time to time. When new rides open up, like Tron Light Cycle Run will have a release date in Magic Kingdom, things could change and tiers could switch up, so it's always worth rechecking those lists right before your trip, or sign up for our newsletter to get all those changes delivered right to your inbox, because we're a little adamant about getting that info out to you ASAP. Okay, now that you know what you can expect, let's actually book a lightning lane together. Booking a lightning lane might seem intimidating at first, but once you're able to actually sit down and do it yourself, you'll see it's not so scary. But first, let's purchase your Disney Genie Plus. In Disney World, Genie Plus goes on sale at midnight the day of your visit, and the sooner you can buy it, the better, since Genie can sell out, especially during busier times of the year. In Disneyland, however, you can add Genie Plus to your theme park ticket package ahead of time for every day of your trip, or you can wait and purchase them day by day once you've stepped into the park you're planning on visiting. Don't worry, Genie Plus over on the West Coast doesn't seem to sell out quickly, but if you do plan on using it, it's still better to get it as early as you can to make the most out of your purchase. Note that you cannot purchase a la carte lightning lanes before your trip at Disneyland like you can with the Genie Plus rides. A la carte rides are same-day only purchases all the time and will be available for you once you enter those parks. Purchasing Disney Genie Plus is a quick process, and I can prove it right now. First, make sure you're logged into your My Disney Experience account and have a linked credit card already set up. You can do that by tapping the My Profile button under your main list of options, then selecting payment method. Second, you know where I told you to go to access Disney Genie before? Go there. Then tap on the My Day tab on the top of the screen. This will lead you to a section labeled clearly as Get Disney Genie Plus Service. From there, the app will be able to guide you through the rest of the purchase. And don't forget to link everyone in your group to your account. That way you can get Genie Plus for everybody. Great, now you've got Genie Plus all paid for, so now what? Whether you're a Disney World Resort guest or not, everyone who has valid park tickets and has already paid for Genie Plus for the park that day will be able to start booking their first lightning lane of the day starting at 7 a.m. sharp. Step 1. When you're on the Disney Genie page, tap on the tip board on the top left-hand side of the page. Make sure you're in the right park as well, because you can use this tab to switch between parks. Step 2. Select the ride you're wanting a lightning lane for. It'll tell you what the ride's next available return time will be. Now, you can't book lightning lanes for anything but the next return time when it comes to the Genie Plus kind of bulk rides here. Step 3. Follow the prompts and confirm everyone in your party who will also be using that lightning lane. And that's it. 3 steps and you've got your lightning lane secured. See, that wasn't so bad. A la carte rides go through a similar process, but instead of you having to pay for Genie Plus, then book your first lightning lane, the 2 steps kind of get smooshed together. You're still going to tap on the tip board and you're still going to pick which ride you want a lightning lane for, but instead of the app just leading you through the reservation steps, it'll lead you through the steps to help you finalize that purchase. Now, there are 2 big differences when it comes to choosing your individual lightning lane entrances over choosing your Genie Plus ones. Difference number 1, you will only be able to get an a la carte lightning lane starting at 7 a.m. if you're a guest at a Disney World owned hotel. Otherwise, you'll have to wait to purchase those until after the parks have officially opened for the day. Difference number 2, though you can't choose your time slot for Genie Plus rides and you just have to choose what's readily available, you can choose your return window for an a la carte ride. It's also important to remember that you don't have to purchase Genie Plus to pay for a la carte attractions and vice versa. You can choose to pay for one or the other or both if you really want to cover your bases. It's totally up to you. Okay, we've made great progress so far. Now you know what rides you can book and how to book them. So since you have the basics down, let's add a few rules to the mix that could really throw you off if you're not expecting them. The rules for using a lightning lane aren't extensive, but they have the ability to change at a whim, so consider this to be my disclaimer. These are the lightning lane rules per the release of this video, but if you want to make sure you're keeping up to date on any potential rule switches, you can always sign up for that newsletter, which I'll link down below. I tend to keep my newsletter peeps in the know when it comes to major or even minor Disney announcements and changes, and that includes any Disney Genie Plus news. Like I said, we're adamant about it. But enough of the forewarnings, let me tell you about the 4 most important rules you want to keep in mind. Rule number number 1, you can only book one lightning lane at a time. No, that doesn't mean you can only book one lightning lane per day, otherwise every ride would be an a la carte ride. You'll be able to book another lightning lane once you use the one you're currently holding on to, or if 120 minutes have passed since you made your last lightning lane reservation. I'll expand on the 120-minute rule in the next point, but in a nutshell, if you book a ride, like say Slinky Dog Dash, and the return time isn't for another 4 hours, you won't be forced to wait 4 hours before being able to book your next ride. Once 120 minutes passes, you'll be good to book another ride, meaning you have the potential of holding on to multiple lightning lanes at once. And reminder, you can only book 2 a la carte lightning lanes per day, which means you are more than welcome to park hop from one e-ticket ride to another e-ticket ride. If you purchase an a la carte ride or 2, those rides do not apply to the 120-minute rule. Remember, a la carte rides are a separate purchase from Genie Plus's bulk set of rides, and you get to predetermine those return time windows for the a la carte rides, so you don't have to look to them to figure out when you can start booking your next lightning lane. This also means if you book 2 a la carte lightning lanes and you purchase Genie Plus, you have the potential of holding 3 lightning lane reservations at a time, even before the 120-minute rule comes into play. And after it comes into play, you could have 4 at once. Rule number 2, there are park hopping restrictions when it comes to Genie Plus, which just came into effect this August. Instead of trying to explain this rule, let's look at a hypothetical situation. You're starting your day at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Then you're going to park hop over to Magic Kingdom. Park hopping doesn't kick in until after 2 p.m. We know this. So you'll be having a lovely little time riding banshees and time traveling into the prehistoric era over in Animal Kingdom for the whole morning. Cool? Cool. But let's say you added Genie Plus to your day. You're more than welcome to make lightning lane reservations for whatever you want in Animal Kingdom, but you won't be able to select a lightning lane return time for anything in Magic Kingdom until all the morning reservations that take place before 2 p.m. have already been booked for those rides. This helps those who've started their day in Magic Kingdom or who are planning on staying in Magic Kingdom all day long to have their first pick of all the return times before the park hoppers are also thrown into the mix. I know, kind of tricky, but in summary, if you want to book a lightning lane for the park you're hopping to after 2 p.m., you'll have to check on the status of the return times periodically throughout the day on the tip board, just in case they become available for you to book sooner rather than later. Because the more popular rides are going to get to that 2 p.m. time faster than the less popular rides. You still with me? I'm going to assume you just said yes. Be comforted in knowing that's probably the most confusing rule of the bunch, and you're only going to have to worry about it if you're using a park hopper with your Genie Plus. Rule number 3, you cannot use a lightning lane for the same ride twice. Short, sweet, to the point. You book a lightning lane for Space Mountain, you can't do it again in the same day. Now, if you return to Magic Kingdom on another day, book it again if you want to. You call the shots. But can't ride the same ride twice in one day. And that's a big difference from FastPass. Rule number 4, you can still use Rider Swap with your Genie Plus reservations. Don't fret, we'll explain. Rider Swap is available for people who have some members of their group that can't or don't want to ride an attraction, but everybody else does. So if there are 5 people in your group and one person isn't tall enough to go on the ride, everyone, meaning all 5, would go up to a cast member and request a rider swap. The cast member will get it set up to where most of the group can wait in the regular old standby line to ride the attraction, while one person or 2 hang back with those who can't or don't want to ride. When the people who waited in line are finished with the experience, they can swap places with the ones who had to stay behind. And then those folks can ride the ride without having to wait in the entire queue line all over again. It makes things a whole lot easier for groups toting around little ones, because that way nobody has to miss out on an experience. If you have Genie Plus, Rider Swap is still something you can use in tandem with the planning tool. Just keep in mind that you still have to pay the $15 for every person in your party who's planning on using the lightning lanes that day. You can't buy Genie Plus for one adult and try to get Rider Swap for another person using that same reservation, because that doesn't work out. Next, let's take a step back and talk about something I mentioned very briefly earlier on. Lightning lanes are popular, meaning they have the tendency to book up, especially during the peak seasons like spring break, summer vacation, and winter holidays. So how can you maximize your Genie Plus purchase and make sure you get the lightning lanes you want? Simply put, by being ahead of the game. Here's why booking early is way better. We've got another hypothetical situation for you. You're vacationing with your family, it's the middle of June. You land in Orlando around 2 p.m. and decide, hey, we'll just drop off our luggage at the hotel and jump into Disney's Hollywood Studios for the first evening on property. And because you know the rides and attractions are still probably going to be packed out during the late afternoon, you purchase Genie Plus so you can hit up a bunch of rides in a shorter amount of time. Seems like a good plan, right? Yeah, here's the only problem. First off, you're only going to have a little bit of time to use that 120-minute advantage. And secondly, it's very possible that the rides you were looking to book for the evening have already been taken by folks who got to the parks way before you did. And this situation isn't that hypothetical. I have been in this situation multiple times, which means I don't learn my lesson. That's why if you're going to spend the money on the Genie Plus service, you're going to want to start your day as soon as possible. Though you can't pre-order Genie Plus and add it to your hotel and ticket package, you will be able to purchase Genie Plus starting at midnight each day of your visit. Do you have to purchase it during the witching hours to truly get the upper hand? No. You can always wake up earlier, even around 6 or 6:30, if you'd prefer to get some shut-eye before making your payment. Just don't forget that lightning lanes go live each day starting at 7 a.m. before the parks open to the public. But in Disneyland's case, Genie Plus and a la carte lightning lanes will go live as soon as the parks open. They won't be available for you to book until you've officially entered either Disneyland or DCA. Even if you find that a lightning lane gets snatched up during the day before you have the chance to grab it for yourself, or the return time for the lightning lane is lots later than you would have liked it to be, you can always check back on the ride periodically throughout the day to see if any more reservations open up later on. Let's say you book a lightning lane for Peter Pan's flight and the only return time Genie Plus is showing you right now clashes with the fireworks. Don't lose hope. Check back later on to see if any more reservations become available, because in some cases, Disney will release more lightning lanes throughout the day, or a different group will cancel their reservations, which means they're free game for you. But what if you need to be said group that cancels a lightning lane? Is canceling a reservation as easy as making one? Now, here's where Genie Plus lightning lanes and a la carte lightning lanes vastly differ. If you need to cancel a Genie Plus lightning lane, it's no skin off Disney's teeth. That's weird. Just tap on your lightning lane reservation and hit the cancel button. Now, you might wind up using the cancel function more often than you'd think, because you know how I mentioned that more lightning lanes may pop up for rides later on in the day? If you, say, booked a ride for Navi River Journey for 7 p.m. but found one lots earlier for 4 p.m. later on, you need to cancel that 7 p.m. reservation you're already holding on to in order to grab the earlier one, because you can't modify a pre-existing lightning lane that you've already collected unless you're wanting to add or remove guests from your reservation. Canceling a lightning lane in exchange for an earlier time becomes quite the gamble, because if you cancel the reservation you've already got, there's a possibility that both could get snagged up by other guests before you get the chance to grab the earlier one, leaving you reservation-less. So before you make the move, be sure you're ready to act fast. Canceling an a la carte lightning lane isn't as straightforward. In fact, it's really not possible. Once you book an individual lightning lane entrance and you chose your return time window, the contract is just as solid as Ariel signing her voice away to Ursula. There's no turning back now, and you already paid. The only way you'd be able to get a refund for your a la carte purchase is if there was something wrong with the ride you booked and it stayed offline the rest of the day. If that became the case, you'd need to talk to guest services at the front of the park for a helping hand. Now, let's dive back into that 120-minute rule for a bit, because it is crucial to getting the most lightning lanes in a single day. The 120-minute rule doesn't technically begin until the parks open, so if you book your first lightning lane of the day at 7 a.m. for a return time later in the afternoon, that doesn't mean you'll be able to turn back around and book your next one at 9 a.m., though that would be awfully nice. The 120 minutes won't start ticking down until after rope drop of that lightning lane. When Disney Genie Plus first launched last year, the 120-minute rule was kind of this hush-hush secret that you could have easily missed out on if you weren't paying attention, although that is kind of how fast passes used to work anyway. However, at the beginning of June this year, the 120-minute rule was made an official thing by Disney. And in August, Disney made things so much easier for Genie Plus users by applying this strategy directly to the planning tool. Now, instead of having to keep track of that 2-hour time frame yourself, the top portion of your Disney Genie Day page should show you what time exactly you'll be able to book your next lightning lane. Though the Disney website states that you should only be able to, on average, hit up to 2 to 3 rides with your Disney Genie Plus purchase, we've found that by starting our day super duper early and taking advantage of the 120-minute rule and looking for cancellations, we've been able to hit up twice the amount, if not more. It's all about how you decide to approach your plan of attack. Some parts of Genie Plus, however, take a whole lot less planning to use. So here are some additional features. Though lightning lanes are the biggest draw for Genie Plus, there are 2 bonus features you'll also receive along with that $15 purchase. Augmented reality lenses, which a Genie Plus purchase basically gives you PhotoPass filters for when you're taking selfies and pictures on your phone. And some of those last up to 45 days after your visit, but some are only available when you're exploring certain parks. And the Audio Tales, which is Genie Plus's audio experiences. They're also themed to specific Disney park areas. Through those, you'll be able to listen to a handful of Imagineers and special guests as they talk about the behind-the-scenes aspects of Disney World and Disneyland for different attractions and experiences. Speaking of Disneyland, the Cali parks have a really fun additional perk instead of augmented lenses that Disney World really needs to take notes on. With a Disneyland Genie Plus purchase, you'll have access to unlimited PhotoPass downloads from your Disneyland day. Yep, that's right. Even if only one person in your party decided to get Genie Plus, you'd be able to download all your professional PhotoPass photos for that flat rate of $20 a day. When you consider that Disney World's Memory Maker is $169 to $199 and an individual PhotoPass photo is $16.95, a single Genie Plus purchase in Disneyland might be worth it just for that perk alone. But here's the big question we have to ask ourselves: is Genie Plus always going to be worth the effort and money? Let's talk about the best and worst times to buy Lightning Lanes. So paying for rides can be extremely beneficial for those short weekend getaways where you're wanting to get as much done in a limited amount of time as possible. For us, we found that we get the most use out of Genie Plus at Magic Kingdom and Disney's Hollywood Studios, since Magic Kingdom has the most rides featured on Genie Plus and Hollywood Studios has a bunch of heavy hitter rides that tend to rack up those really high wait times. And if you're planning to go during Disney's busiest times of the year, you can bypass massive queue lines for your favorite rides as long as, again, you get ahead of the game. Genie Plus can be extremely beneficial around the spring break season, summer months, and toward the end of the year when Holly Jolly time is upon us. Not to mention, Genie Plus is good for groups who, in general, aren't too fond of standing in forever long lines, plain and simple. However, Disney Genie Plus is an investment and could seem like a waste of money if you're visiting during a slower season like the beginning of the year or back to school season at the end of August throughout September. And if you don't want to tack on those extra expenses to an already expensive vacation, there are other strategies you can use to cut down your wait times instead, like using your early theme park entry as a Disney hotel guest to get into the parks 30 minutes before they officially open, or just waiting to hit up some of the bigger experiences until the end of the day when lines start to die down. Also, if one of your park days is in Disney's Animal Kingdom or Epcot, there really isn't a whole lot of need for a whole group to be spending $15 per person per day for their menu of Lightning Lane options, since the lines for attractions at these parks usually aren't terrible, not to mention there aren't too many rides featured on their lists in general. But ultimately, the choice is yours and yours alone. All right, now let's talk about the free stuff, right? The free version of Disney Genie. Even if you decide that paying for Genie Plus or individual Lightning Lane entrances isn't the right path for you, that doesn't mean Disney Genie is going to be completely useless for you. Remember the free Disney Genie or Freeney portion I teased? Now I'm going to rapid fire through 5 free parts of Disney Genie that you're not going to want to overlook. First up, those tip boards. Sure, you use tip boards to help make your Lightning Lane reservations, but that's not all they're good for. Tip boards are also going to keep you in the loop when it comes to attraction status, show times, dining availability, current standby wait times, and forecasted attraction wait times. Now a little more on the forecasted waits because I think they're super great. Much like you can check out an hourly forecast on your weather app, you can also see what Disney predicts could be the lowest and highest wait times for rides throughout the day. Though this isn't always 100% accurate, it should still work as a nice springboard for planning out your day. Next is personalized itineraries. Disney Genie can make personalized recommendations based on which park you're visiting and the preferences you let it know about ahead of time. With that info, Genie can construct a flexible schedule just for your group. Keyword though, flexible. If your day changes or as things change regarding the happenings in the parks, then Genie can change too. You'll be able to receive a new itinerary whenever you need, according to Disney. And mobile order. Need food in a jiffy? You can mobile order from a quick service location via Disney Genie. Now, how about if you want to try to get a seat at a table service restaurant at the last minute? Disney Genie can also show you which restaurants have walk-up wait lists available the day of your visit. All right, you feeling better about Disney Genie yet? The most important thing to take away here is that Genie can be as useful as you want it to be. You might want to invest in Lightning Lanes, you might want to rely on the free planning tools, or you might not want to use it at all. But it's worth checking out before your trip to see which parts of the service are going to benefit you the most, even if you decide to say thanks but no thanks. And don't forget, we got that cheat sheet all typed up and ready to send your way. Just reach out by going to disneyfoodblog.com/DisneyGenie+. Now, what are your thoughts about Genie? Have you used it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Or maybe your feelings about it have changed since it was first introduced to the parks? Let us know in the comments. And as always, don't hesitate to reach out if there's something that's still throwing you off about this service that we can help clear up for you. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.